Yes people, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. We are back with another video bringing you some latest Manchester United news, and of course, as ever during the summer, this feels like the new Nicholas Gaitan, Wesley Sneijder, whatever you want to call it. We've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, but Jadon Sancho's transfer saga to Manchester United is going to continue this summer, and of course we have the latest reports on that. We've also got David De Gea with some passive aggressive tweeting. Now we don't know who it's aimed at, but we'll try and figure that out here in this video, and obviously we'll be talking about that fans forum as well that took place yesterday, which is Friday if you're watching this video on Saturday. So let's get stuck into all of that, but before we do that, make sure you're hitting that like button, commenting, sharing, and of course subscribing. We want to hit 110k by the end of this month, which is doable at the moment. We're just short of 108k, so not far to go from that, and once we hit 110 we'll set a new target. But you lot have been helping me batter these targets, so get hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already. But what's the latest on Jadon Sancho, I hear you ask, or some of you might not even be asking because you might not be bothered, you might be fatigued with it all. But nevertheless, we hear from Sport 1, Patrick Berger, not the fella that used to play for Liverpool, somebody else, a journalist, and Sport 1 are tier 2, if that means anything to you. Manchester United have opened official talks with Borussia Dortmund over a transfer of Jadon Sancho. Sources telling Sport 1, but there's still no bid on the table. All parties are working to find a quick solution. Dortmund want around 90 million euros. Now Sport 1 are based in Germany, and they say they have learned there is gradually movement in transfer poker around superstar Jadon Sancho. Official talks between Man United and Borussia Dortmund have started in these days, which probably means in the last couple of days. So it's good to hear that, if this is true of course, that Manchester United have got into official negotiations, because if you remember last summer, it dragged on and on about what we were willing to pay, what Dortmund wanted, you know, when the deadline was, this, that and the other. And the deadline is for when Dortmund return to pre-season training, so they've set that same deadline again for Manchester United. And, you know, it's good to actually hear we've got into negotiations, because I don't think we actually ever got into official negotiations with them. Now, there'll always be talks between agents and intermediaries and this, that and the other, but hopefully this is a sign of things to come for the summer, that Man United are trying to get things done early. But we know that they like to drag their heels, we know that they like to negotiate, but reports seem to suggest Dortmund have come off that 120 million euros which they wanted last summer. According to Sport 1 information, the Dortmunders have meanwhile moved away from their transfer claims at the time. Instead of wanting 120 million euros, they want around 90 million euros for the wing racer. That's how it's been translated. Sport 1 recently reported that Sancho and the Red Devils have basically agreed on the terms of the contract. The personal conditions have largely been clarified since last summer. We've heard that all before. Fabrizio Romano reported that quite frequently last summer. We've heard that regularly, that negotiations between the players' agents, representatives and the club, Manchester United, aren't going to be an issue. United will be able to give him a great contract. Everybody knows that. It's about getting this deal sorted between Manchester United and Borussia Dortmund. All parties are optimistic and are working on a good solution, as club and player related sources from England and Germany confirm. So that is the latest on Jadon Sancho. Not done, no official bid, but official talks are reported to have started between the two clubs, and hopefully this is a sign that this deal can be short-lived this summer. But as always, take these reports with a pinch of salt, don't hold your breath, etc, etc, because we know what we're dealing with at this club, don't we? We know what we're dealing with. Now, we had Filtveld, who also said United feel confident that a deal can be reached with Borussia Dortmund for Jadon Sancho. So that's another journalist coming from a different angle. But, you know, we're all tired of this talk. We all want it. I'm sure we all want Jadon Sancho, or majority of us do want Jadon Sancho to sign for the club. We're just tired of all the talk. Hopefully these official rumours are true, and United get the bid in the next couple of weeks, and this gets done and dusted before, you know, we start getting close to that deadline or anything like it, because you want to get your big deals done. Once you get your big deals done, if we're looking at the Heatons and the Trippiers and all this kind of thing, they will follow. Just get this done, you know, with Sancho ASAP if we want him. If not, move on somewhere else, because ain't nobody got time to be dilly-dallying around, as we know United. But this is a good chance for them with this new structure to maybe prove themselves to be better than they have been. Do you know what I mean? Is this structure actually working? Is it better? Talking about the structure and the board and the owners, Gary Neville has hit out at Joel Glazer's fan forum promises and calls them a missed opportunity as he issues his own 5-point plan that would see no dividends taken out of Man United and a guaranteed transfer kitty for 5 years. Now, first off, this is the first time Joel Glazer's ever spoken to fans, or second time in 16 years. It shows you that the protests and all those kind of things worked. And it shows you that we should keep on protesting against these Glazers. So well done to those fans that protested against the owners. And of course, you know, kind of got this meeting ahead, because that's a start. Now, I don't think anyone expected these guys to come in and say, we're going to give you, you know, £1 billion every year to spend on transfers, and we're going to sell the... It wasn't going to happen. We know that. But some of the things that have come from it are a possible start of potential changes which could see future benefit. Again, I wouldn't hold my breath. We've been here, done that with false promises from the board, and ultimately we should keep protesting and try and weaken their hand at the club and weaken their strength in terms of wanting to stick around. But nevertheless, this discussion has happened at the fans forum, and Gary Neville responded to it. So it was questions from fans to the owners, and they were able to discuss and knock back these certain things. Now, Gary Neville said, we never had a commitment to paying down the debt over the next 5 years, and that's true. The Glazers defended, you know, them taking out dividends and the debt. You know, they didn't make any sort of intent, you know, to rectify that or clear that, and that would have been one big step to appeasing the fans, getting rid of that debt that's been on the club since they came in 2005. No dividends for 5 years, says Gary Neville, and they too defended them taking dividends out of the club, which, look, we all know football clubs are run as businesses now. Them taking dividends, they take more out of the club in dividends than anybody else does around the world, and they're putting little in. That's the issue. No one minds if you make some money if you're actually investing in the club and trying to make things better, but you're not. All we get are these hollow statements. He said a minimum yearly investment into the team for 5 years, missed an opportunity to show a new Old Trafford and training ground vision and more detail on the fan share scheme required, because the Glazers said that we would have you know, shares for sale that could allow some of the fans to have equal voting rights to them. But how much shares are going to be up for sale for that? How many, you know, of the, because if you've got less shares, how can your votes mean anything? Do you know what I mean, if you haven't got enough? But there were updates, and the club agreed to work with Must on fan share scheme. Fans advisory board to be set up with elected fan groups and fan reps and fan groups on it. Fans forum to be expanded and more representative of the fan base. The Glazer family agreed to pay all cost fines associated to the European Super League, including any Premier League fines, which is coming out of the club anyway, so it's a bit mental. Commits to major investment in stadium and also training facilities. Now, some of you have seen the state of Old Trafford. Why does it take the fans letting them know? You should be there on the ground, having a look at everything, wanting to stay ahead of your competition. When you see all these, you know, Wembley being built, Emirates being built, you know, City doing what they're doing with their ground, and Spurs, like, you should be looking to keep ahead of the competition, improve your stadium. They don't, but they need the fans to say, hey, this is a bit rusty, there's leaks everywhere, for them to actually do anything. This is the problem now. Obviously, you need this dialogue to start, but you just feel like it's more hollow promises from them. It says full cooperation in a fan-led review, which we heard more of from Gary Neville a few weeks ago. Commitment to ongoing engagement with fans and apologies for getting it wrong by 16 years of silence. Won't commit to paying off the debt. Thinks dividend payments are fair and commits to investment in the team this summer. That points 8 and 9 are the major issues, and they're not bending or breaking on those. That's why we have to keep up this, you know, these protests against them, keep making our voices heard. And well done to those fans that participated in the fans forum and got some answers out of them and got some dialogue and got some commitments, because we'll now be able to hold them accountable to these commitments, which is obviously good, hopefully. But yeah, this is the thing. After 16 years of bullshit from them, you're gonna always feel like empty promises. David De Gea made a post about Sergio Romero, who's been released by Manchester United, and he said, "Good luck, cheeky. I wish you success, my friend. You deserve to be treated well in your new challenge. Enjoy. You deserve to be treated well in your new challenge." Who is he talking about here? Is he talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Now, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was to play Sergio Romero more, that would mean David De Gea not playing. So what does it mean there? Is it to do with the board? Because Solskjaer said so Romero could go. The board wouldn't take any sort of offers, didn't want to give him, you know, XYZ to Everton, I think it was. Could that be what he's on about? Who knows? But it's an interesting one by David De Gea that's going to get a lot of people talking. Let us know what you thought or think he meant in that tweet in the comments below. But yeah, that's today's news, guys. Let us know your thoughts. Keep it locked to AdamMcKola TV. Jadon Sancho official talks, apparently. What's your thoughts on the fans forum, David De Gea's comments, and much more? Until next time, I've been AdamMcKola. I'm out of here.